This is a dangerous work of art. The BBC will only permit me to show it to you in slow motion. It consists of hundreds of flashing light bulbs, all pulsating at the speed of a human heart. They create dazzling patterns everywhere, even on the inside of the retina.
I think this is like looking at a Monet painting or something like this. Because you close your eyes and then you see all these like colors in front of you, and it's becoming very impressionistic in a very straightforward way. And the only thing is that you don't see it in the traditional way by looking at it, but you see it by closing your eyes. So it's maybe one of the very few works of art that can best be seen with closed eyes.
Holler belongs to a group of artists who are making a new kind of art. Some theorists call it relational. I think it could be a brand new ism. I've come to New York. I'm carrying a book by the French curator and art critic Nicolas Bourriaud. It's called Relational Aesthetics. It describes a new movement in art which I have never heard of. It says that it emerged in Europe and America in the 90s, while I was distracted by the YBAs. Bourriaud's book contains a long list of artists whom he views as relational. Among them, Vanessa Beecroft presents arrangements of scantily clad women in art galleries. Philippe Perrino bought the rights to a Japanese cartoon character. Then he and his artist friends made works of art with her, thus liberating a throwaway image from mass cultural narratives. Felix Gonzalez Torres created minimalist sculptures out of boiled sweets. And Rikrit Tiruvanija exhibited his own flat in an art gallery. Visitors came and cooked in his kitchen. Over the last 10 years, Bourriaud had curated several exhibitions of relational art all over the world. But his book was not on first reading easy to understand.
Artwork as social interstice. The possibility of a relational art, an art taking as its theoretical horizon the realm of human interaction and its social context, rather than the assertion of an independent and private symbolic space, points to a radical upheaval of the aesthetic, cultural and political goals introduced by modern art.
The 20th century had been full of isms. Impressionism, Fauvism, Cubism, Expressionism, Constructivism, Suprematism, Surrealism, Abstract Expressionism, Minimalism and Conceptualism, to name but a handful. But in recent times there'd been a disappointing lack of isms. I thought Nicolas Bourriaud's relational aesthetics could be the first ism of the 21st century, and I set out to test this hypothesis. My search for the new ism began with two Danish artists who had frequently appeared in Bourriaud's exhibitions. Their new piece consisted of a minimalist series of payphones.
Huh?
This is Sean.
Oh, hi, dear.
Hi.
Yes. I'm sorry. Well, we're eating dinner.
Oh, okay. I'm just calling. I'm at an art gallery opening, and it's an installation involving phones and like wiretapping. And there's people in the next room with like headphones and stuff listening. So it's interesting.
Okay. Well, can I call you back? We're having dinner.
What would you say is relational about it?
You need like the visitor to come in and play in order to give the work some meaning. When you go to a show with real minimalist works, like you would also like them to be activated a bit, like that you could like climb some of the sculptures, so you know, like sit on it, and it would look so much more groovy and up to date.
Elmgreen and Dragset's work seemed to me to be a step forward in art. Its sleek looks came from minimalism. The use of everyday objects was conceptual. The new element was ordinary people. In this piece, they hired household decorators to paint the walls of a gallery white over and over again for a day. And for another exhibition, the artist simply drilled a hole into the ceiling of the gallery. Visitors could climb a ladder and look into the flat on the floor above.
You very often make very artificial attempts to like kind of link like the art scene to its like social context or surroundings. And here we did it in a very, very basic way, you know, like the two worlds would meet through this hole.
Much to my surprise, this was a very difficult film to make. I approached many of the artists mentioned in Bourriaud's book, but some of them were not keen to appear in a program about relational aesthetics. Liam Gillick makes simple architectural structures with texts, such as this one. He's mentioned many times in Bourriaud's book. His work may be considered relational because they investigate the way architecture controls social activity. When I contacted Liam Gillick, he told me I was asking the wrong questions and put the phone down on me. I later found out he told another artist appearing in my program that I was dangerous. Angela Bullock told me not to ask the question why, and then missed our interview appointment. Other artists agreed to meet me, but when they did, they seemed to find my approach rather outdated. What ideas are represented in the sculpture?
None. This piece is like made of like 3 lamps that are linked together with like some wires, and the 3 lamps stand in 3 different rooms of the space where we are. So in order to encompass the object, and you have to circulate within the gallery through an artwork.
How did you evolve the pattern that's on the lamps?
I don't know, just like a few little holes.
Do they like represent windows or doors?
I think they represent really nothing.
How are they specifically meant to alter the rooms or our relationship to the space?
3 lamps, 3 space. It's really simple.
Right. Philippe Perrenot's lamp required a new way of understanding art. The idea was that art no longer had to mean anything, nor did it have to be something that was just looked at. It could be useful. It was just a lamp, priced at several thousand euros. In what way can this work be considered relational?
No idea. No idea, you tell me.
All artists hate to be categorized, but the relational artists often worked together. Philippe Perrenot, Carsten Holler, Liam Gillick and Rik Tiravanija had even made a film together in which they attempted to express some of the ideas they share.
My nightmare is walking through the woods in the snow, surrounded by people talking about how nice it is to be walking through the woods in the snow.
Every person's nightmare is to be walking through the woods in the snow, with other people pointing out how nice it is to be walking through the woods in the snow, with other people pointing out how nice it is.
Walking in the woods, surrounded by people pointing out how nice it is to walk in the woods, right, or something. Yeah.
Surrounded by people.
Yeah, exactly. It's nightmare. Like the new thing, for example, now is like the eco-tourism and ecology. It's like you discover nature, but as a sort of like nice, harmless sort of like picture that we have to protect, right? Because it's already fucked up. I think that the apocalypse already happened, and we're all survivors.
What was the apocalypse?
I don't know, but it happened already.
This film also shows the artists share a political viewpoint. Like every other ism of the 20th century, relational art is left-wing. The relational worldview is like the plot of The Matrix, but with capitalism instead of killer robots.
Speculation is the genius of capitalism for finding new multiple forms of itself in a post-utopian world. That's why you get behavioural adjustments like casual Fridays, where you wear what you like to work. That's why you find pool tables in the middle of an office, as a way to encourage open, creative exchange. These are new forms of soft capitalism that make people feel good, while maintaining the old relationships.
Yeah, but maybe if people feel good, they're more likely to speculate and less likely to plan.
When you feel good, you are more willing to speculate and less likely to plan.
You know, we're still very much in this belief in the pursuit of happiness, achieving this by fulfilling the needs. I don't think this works. I think we have come to quite a degree of saturation of our needs. And post-utopian would be to give this up, this strive.
To be less goal-orientated.
The goal would be not to have a goal anymore. So that's a big goal. So how do you get beyond that?
I don't know.